I will work on the order placement inside a client today. First thing we'll do is show you the forms that I will be going into. I will do a shift bypass on client, meaning I hold down the client, hold down my shift key, hit enter, and that gets me behind the client. I think everybody knows how to do that. The forms that I'll be clicking into first is the main console, which is the starting form. This opens up and you'll see that this has some subforms on it. One, this right up here is the property, so it's the little hand with the card. This shows you that this particular form is called the HUD, and this side form is called the side display. So one is it's called SAD and the HUD. This button changes constantly, and this object is called the task button. And then these are some labels. Here is a box that I refer to quite often called Dell date. Here is another box that is showing if we have a lock when we place orders or do other functions inside a client where only one client at a time can do such things. We basically lock the other clients out. I'll explain that more in a bit. And then we also put the user that logs in. We put that name here in this message box called user. I put the version over here, which is basically the date and my initials on there. And then the other part to this form is this quit button, and it's called close button is the name of it. And that basically just closes out the client when you get done with it. When we go in, we're going to use two other forms and place an order. One is right now it's called micro shell, and it's filled. All these forms are filled with a form called blank form, meaning it's just a blank blue form. But what we do is we're going to load in a form called micro shell into here when we select the customer, and I'll show that to you now. Micro shell is this form here, and it basically has the name of the customer, the parent name of the customer, the grade, the location name, the person placing the order, and the customer number. And also the pricing tiers here, I guess. So these are things that show up when you place the order. Oh, there's a few other fields. There's the address field, the city field, zip code field, and phone number field. That's all in this micro shell. And this is just for display when you're placing an order. It's just a display form. Going back to this one here, this form here, you'll see another one is called mini notes, and that's just an area where you can enter some notes, ad hoc notes into the order. And that's this form here that will load up, and in there you'll see things like if you select the delivery day, delivery time, so if they need a special time, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning for the next day, you can select those, and I'll show you how it works when I get into the order. Also below minimum, that will select. And by the way, when you click any one of these things, the event procedure on clicking this object, I will open one up. It'll take a second to load. 1 second. The first load takes some time, and then it's fast after that. So when you go into an event procedure, the cursor lands on the sub of that click. So that click is called, I named it the object bmin, and it's on click procedure. So basically this little thing runs, and it says, it just changes the forecolor 255 is red. And so if it's 255, it brings it to blue, and otherwise it makes it red, and I think 0 is white. So these are just little color functions. So basically I change the color of this on a click, that's all I'm doing. And then at the end, my code will look to see if this thing has a different color, and if it does, it'll add certain things to the sales orders as it gets processed. That's the mini notes. So back in here, I'm going to go in and show you the other forms that will be selected. The next one that we'll select is the select task form, and that's this form here, and that's when we click the sales button. Again, I'm going to go into the event procedure here. The sales button event procedure is, we record, Eggshell is a one-line table that's a local table that we record just things like today's delivery date or tomorrow's delivery date, the person ordering, the order person from our company, and various little pieces of information that we use as kind of like a local cache. We use this table like a cache, and so we just go to it. And this particular one, we're just recording that this transaction type is called a sales order, so we're in the sales order feature of this right now. I have some other logic that runs, but you'll see that basically I'm using this form for all the salespeople called select customer new. So when I name the objects, it's forms. You always start with that, bang. Main console, which is that main console, and then you always call the subform. You don't actually call out the object with the form that is going into the HUD called sales customer new. You actually call out the subform name only, so that's how it works. And then the function is called source object. That's just one of basically every function here. Everything on this properties page is called out, and you'll see that under data. And I'm gonna move over to the main console real quick. Oops, wrong button. The source object right now is blank form, so in code we're just changing that source object to select customer new, which is this table here. Design. And you'll see this is what pops up, and in here you'll see a subform. Let me pull up my properties one more time. And the name of the subform is called select customer data new. And so let's find that subform. That's also going to load. So it's select customer data new. And this is actually what we actually see when we go into the customer. When we select this button, I double click it to get the properties page and go to the event procedure on click, and you'll see that it says just some basic logic here about credit hold, and then again it goes into the shell. It records the customer key in the shell, location name, county, all the information for the customer in there, and login status. It's something that we actually don't use anymore, but it shows who's logging into what forms at what time. And then the next form that if you want to trace where this form goes, you look for this where it changes. Do command open form is the command that runs. So the open form command here is confirm customer, so that'll be the next form that we go to for tracing where this is going. And you will see that the task button caption we changed to confirm customer. So we keep changing this task button caption as we go through the sales order process. So now we're going to go to confirm customer, and we'll move to the next form. Confirm customer is here. This will be the next one where we either could start over, or you can see the event procedure basically closes this and starts over. We could type in the name here and then hit confirm customer. can, it'll open up the next form, which is you'll see the next form is the close of this one here, and it's going to open this next form called customer delivery date. So customer delivery date is the next form that opens. So we'll move to that one now. And this form is the last form before we get into the order. I'll walk through the how this thing works in a bit, but you'll see if you accept the order, then you click and it basically loads all the forms and you can read the code. I changed the width of the SAD, which is a side display, and do some changes to the width of the HUD as well. We go in and we check a holiday table to make sure if there's a holiday, we go to the next delivery date. You can look at the logic of that and open up the table. It should be self-explanatory. We go in and we find the usual route at this point inside of Customer Master. So we open up the record set Customer Master, and we see what delivery date, and you can see the logic there. If it's the order type will call, then we put in a usual route of this exclamation mark, meaning it's just a special character so that we can see that it's not a letter or the usual route. And we use the hat for hotshots in the order type, and that is just for routing so that the computer spits that out and makes the workflow completely different for that sales order. Okay, so now we're going in and the rest of this code is pretty self-explanatory if you try it out and test it. The long story short is at the end of this, we load into the source object the customer order sheet. We'll always start with the order sheet. So this is what loads into the HUD so that we can start placing an order. And you'll see that also the micro shell gets updated and other things. And so all this is done to place the order. And next we will now show you this placing an order.